And you are who?
I'm Al Cowlings. You know who I am, David.
And where are you?
Yes, I'm in the chat. Where am I?
You actually are
Brook Ward. I'm in the chat room
at Tyrant Studios.
at Tyrant Studios with the great, legendary Survivor Joe Leary.
Welcome to the chat room at Tyrant Studios.
Coming to you high above the legendary penthouse in downtown Vancouver.
We are sponsored by West Coast Dream Machines on Clyde Avenue in West Van. Pre-owned luxury automobiles. Check them out online, wcdreammachines.com. Our food sponsor is Neighbors Restaurant and Pizza House.
Hey, big shout out to Global TV and Jay Durant. Brought his crew down
Jay
today.
Durant.
A big shout out to Jay.
Absolutely.
Came down to the story here at
Absolutely.
the Tyrant Studios.
The Barn Country Cabaret on 102A Avenue in Guilford. The Barn is where the Fraser Valley goes for country. The official wine sponsor of the chat room is Otter Trail in Langley, as you might notice if you're watching the podcast, which you can see on YouTube.
Yes,
Just
you
go
can.
to Chat Room Tyrant Studios. Also follow us on social media, the
Hit
chat
that
room
like and subscribe button.
at Tyrant Studios. I'm Joe Leary, along with Danny Filippone, noted Vancouver Entertainment Hall of Famer and proprietor of the Penthouse nightclub. You had a big-ass party here last night with Biz Nasty.
Biz Nasty, yeah. It was one of Biz's friends, Jeff. It was celebrating his 40th birthday party, and they approached us about 6 months ago and said, "Hey, are you okay if we sort of do a private party here?" They flew a guy in from Los Angeles named A-Track.
Yeah.
Now he's big in EDM and
Big DJ world, yeah.
and crazy. You were here.
I was. It was amazing. Yeah.
And
what a party.
what was A-Track's paycheck for the night?
Well, I'm not to disclose that, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel!
I used to get $250 a night at the Roxy. I'm guessing it's more than that.
It's
Yeah.
4 months.
Good
4
money
months
to-
work.
Yeah,
Yes,
good money to
more
spin
than
an
one day.
iPod is what I would say. Yeah.
Also, Aaron Chapman, noted historian and author. You're working on your newest book, and actually we're going to talk on the show with Bill Allman, who's
Sure.
the president of the BC Entertainment Hall
Yeah,
of Fame.
we'll save it till then,
You're
yeah.
working on a book on...
Should I say what it is?
Say what it
this
is.
is an
Yeah.
exclusive. This is breaking news. It's going to be a book about the Orpheum Theater because it's celebrating its 100th anniversary next year.
Right.
So it's going to be in time for that. But a history of the Orpheum and the amazing building that is.
They do wonderful tours there.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, tours.
Yeah.
There.
So-
Bill Allman leads the tours.
Theaters and venues are going down. Newspapers and print are going down.
Yeah.
Radio stations are going down.
Jeez.
And on that happy intro, let's bring in Mr. Brook Ward.
Hey, Brook.
Brook Ward.
Thank you.
Boy, gives you the joyous.
Brook and I
welcome.
go back to the days of silent radio. I think we go back that far, don't we?
We go back way back,
way
black
back,
and
yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
and this is a tough crowd, by the way. Everyone, great voices here, lots of people. It's a tough crowd to meet.
You've been around a good long time, and of course, we used to be stationed on the late great AM 650 Sportsnet, which was the latest to go down. I think it's appalling there is not a sports radio station in Vancouver. We had two at one point. I think, well, Mojo, if you really go back in the history.
Mojo,
NW2 was Mojo.
Yeah.
That was a failed experiment. But nonetheless, we had Team 1040, TSN 1040, Sportsnet 650. Now we have neither. And what's your take? Because, I mean, you've worked your way up and down those dials.
I've been on all those stations. I haven't closed them all down, but I was employed by 650 when they went down. I don't consider it firing. I've been fired once.
I've been fired 5 times.
Really? Totally, we don't want you anymore. And that was my first time around at
Budget
Team
cuts,
1040.
we're going in a different direction. You're a great guy, but...
Mine was,
man,
we've
it's a fire.
come as far as we can with you, was what they told me.
Right.
And I'd hosted, a brief sidebar, I'd hosted the Canuck postgame show, and 1040 had just gotten the rights away from NW, and I knew as soon as I got the rights, I thought, I'm not going to last long, because I was critical of the Canucks often, wasn't going to change. As soon as I got the rights, I knew when I was critical that if it was Nonis at the time, if Dave Nonis, like Brian Burke before him, had called up CKNW and complained about Dan Russell, Russell stayed on the air. But if Dave Nonis called up to the new rights holders and complained about Brook Ward was going off the air. So I hosted the post-game show and was critical about the team until midnight, and then my phone rang at 8 a.m. I was still in bed, and a station manager / program director told me in bed. Well, not literally, but he was.
He was not there with you.
He was not there
yeah,
with me.
to be clear.
But he's in my
Gotcha,
thoughts.
gotcha.
And
Let's keep the show clean.
Yeah,
thank
sure.
you. And he said, "We've come as far as we can with you. We need you in the station in 5 minutes. You're
Okay,
gone."
but,
Wow.
but that let's dig down on that, because that kind of buys into this whole Trump thing and the thin skin. If a reporter writes something he doesn't like, he wants them subpoenaed, he wants them fired, he wants them this or that. How thin-skinned are the managers of hockey clubs or sports operations here? Like, what are you allowed to say, and how far did you go? Like, if you were ripping them apart, or were you just saying this is shitty? This is shitty. I mean, what
No,
were you doing?
It wasn't that bad, but in the Berkey era in particular, way worse back then than now. In the Aquilini era, shall we say? I don't know. The PR department, it's my understanding now, calls the radio shows if they're upset with things that have happened and tries to talk to them or lecture them. I've had that happen to me with the PR directors previously as well. But I was able to talk them off the cliff and whatnot. But if Berkey was trying to get Tony Gallagher fired, and did get Dan Russell fired when Russell was gone for a year and Don Taylor took over that time slot. That was Berkey getting in there and getting Russell fired.
It's so, for a casual listener and an avid sports fan like Chappie and I are, we don't see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, we listen and we hear all the comments. I think we like it when people get a bit nasty.
Yeah.
And
Well,
talk.
of course.
I mean, that's why obviously podcasts and stuff have become, very popular.
Yep.
But yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's refreshing to hear you say that. But
Joe, you were talking a little bit earlier about there's no sports radio channel. Is that temporary? Do we think that's going to change, or is that forever going forward? And
I think there's 4 dark signals on the AM band right now.
Yeah.
For some reason, Canada, unlike the U.S., Canada is reluctant to put sports on FM. I think they will be. The Canuck games will be on probably Jack FM, likely. But for some reason, people in Canada think music belongs on FM, talk belongs on AM. Well, if AMs are disappearing all over the globe...
You think it would work on FM?
I think you got to find someone to step up, like yourself.
Yeah.
And with all your money, you get Biz Nasty and all these guys coming in. You got to get them together.
Let's get a channel going.
there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
local radio.
Penthouse Radio.
There's
Yeah.
frequencies
Get
all
some
over.
Biz Nasty bucks.
It's got a bit of a ring to it.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Ryan Reynolds, everyone wants Reynolds to spend money. Buble could spend some money. Buy your own radio station because there's frequencies now available, AM anyway, all over the place.
Sure.
As these stations also turned in their licenses at the same time, so they don't own the signals anymore. But I think FM's better than AM. If you were going to have, even if it was a 2 or 3 hour show, like Sports Talk was when it started, there was no all sports. It just plugs in there. It ran on Rock 101 for a while.
And for the kids these days, I think if they were to choose between the two, they would choose FM if it wasn't Sirius, some satellite TV.
Radio in general. I've listened to the radio during the day.
I
and
do
at night.
too.
Yeah.
And a wide variety
Like
of it.
Joe says, you buy a brand new car, 2026 car off the lot. What's the first thing you see in the
They
car?
still have radios in it.
Yeah.
Still
They
radios.
got rid of ashtrays. They got rid of CD players.
Ejection seats.
Yeah, they still have radios.
There's still AM available.
Still AM
Yeah.
as well.
Still
Yeah.
get AM.
Yeah.
But they had, if you found someone, even if you wanted to start off small with like a 2 hour talk show, as an example, 3 hour, just fits into 9 to midnight on CFox or pick a station, whatever the game is, maybe a dead zone for the stations anyway. I just go to 650. They weren't charging a bunch for their clients anyway, which is also what put them under, and ultimately put 1040 under too, because they were undercutting 1040. But despite all the decisions coming out of Toronto that canceled all these stations and kept them going, but you could go to their client list and get everybody who was sponsoring there and put a show on for 3 hours and use. I would think those sponsors would be willing to support it.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I don't think Rogers Corporation, if they care, I don't think they're aware of how bad they look across the country. They look horrible. And I just read that now with the Hockey Night in Canada thing, so now Sportsnet Plus, the price has gone up.
Yes.
It's just like they're tone deaf. They're absolutely tone deaf. Toronto was saved when the budget cuts killed AM radio stations in every other market. And again, it's the biggest market in the country, and I do understand that. But I don't understand why they have such little regard for a fan base in other markets. Canada's a city or country of 10 provinces and 2 territories or whatever. Why do they have such little regard for us out here?
I don't think they ever have necessarily. And if they want to make budget cuts, they'll start out here. Whatever, regardless how much money they're making, if they want to save money, whatever their dollar amount is, the West Coast seems to be the first place to be able to do the hatchet.
It's the chopping block, yeah.
Well,
They don't care.
Why can't you go up into the corporate offices in Toronto and put targets on this guy's making $250K a year, this guy's making $375. Whack those guys rather than whack 4 guys that are making $50.
They're the ones making the decisions.
Brooke, here's one for you. What did you think of FIFA? Were you impressed by the way it all sort of rolled out in Vancouver?
Yeah,
It was
actually.
pretty darn cool.
It went smooth as a bell.
Yep.
I live near Science World, so I didn't go to the games, but I would go watch people walk by and disperse. And
Fair enough.
Spent time on Granville Street. I thought our city did great. Tons of cops all over the place. Made my neighborhood safer, frankly, for 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
Now it's back to normal.
Yeah.
But I think it went very smoothly. I heard on Granville, you guys may know more, there's a few scuffles here and there late at night, but otherwise it was pretty calm. And
That's
pretty
just the
cool.
Roxy closing late.
But,
Exactly.
but the
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
Is, the thing is the FIFA scuffles compared to the usual Granville Street scuffles.
No, it was a huge success downtown.
It was,
Never
yeah.
mind Lonsdale Quay and the Peony.
Yes,
That's
yes.
just incredible. We were all sort of hesitant about it, like a lot of Vancouverites was. But
How was your business?
I mean, the
Were you
penthouse.
the same?
We did better. I mean,
Okay, good.
listen. At the end of the day, it was promoted as a outdoor watch party. That's what FIFA was. If you weren't at the game, they were telling you, go outside, watch games. So nightclubs in general didn't exactly get the boom like we did during the Olympics. However, the penthouse being the penthouse, we saw our fair share of drunken Irish people, Chappie, come in.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
yeah.
hey,
Well,
wait,
come on!
oh, hey,
I
wait
call
a
like I
second.
see it. Holy mackerel!
I wasn't here that night. Yeah.
Boy, there was a lot of people having good times.
Joe looks good considering what he puts himself through on a nightly basis.
I was just going to say when I was doing some research, I've known Brook a good long time. He's one of the few people that every time he speaks, he sounds like a sports guy.
He's got such a you have such a recognizable voice
Yeah.
in Vancouver. You really do.
There's no pay for this.
Under the table.
This is it.
You know, this is really good.
Were you ever a DJ?
Yeah. I was a country music DJ at WX 1130 when they were on Burrard Street in 1984 and 85.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough that I got out of school.
Yeah.
I had a pipsqueak voice.
Yeah.
I got a BCIT and I was opping baseball games and shows and things there. And then I wasn't going anywhere. And the day before I left to go get a job out in Chilliwack, CHWK, to be their graveyard guy, I put a tape together for the PD, and in it, I dropped my voice way down and went WX 1130. And he said, well, where was this before I could have had you on the air?
Yeah.
Again, fortunate, I drove back and forth to Chilliwack for a month.
Yeah.
Burnt out my '73 Honda's engine. Decided I didn't want to move there, and I didn't want to drive every day. And the day I quit, I was lucky. Ted Farr from WX 1130 called me and said, "Hey, are you available? We've got a graveyard shift for you."
That's great.
And
Great
then
story.
I stuck around Vancouver.
So you are a member of the Vancouver Canadians Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Well
I was
deserved.
not their first choice, but that's very nice.
And like myself, baseball is my number one sport.
Yeah, we're huge
Number
fans.
two is well down the list. I mean that sincerely. But I will say this. When I heard talk a few months ago about Vancouver potentially bidding for a Major League Baseball franchise, I just thought, no chance in
Yeah,
hell.
save your money.
Save your money. What do you think?
Well, there's no chance in hell.
There's not happening.
No, not going to happen.
It's because it's an election year.
Is
Yes.
that, Aaron, do you believe that's at stake
I
here?
think that's totally the reason.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what everyone. Yeah. Okay, I'll flick that in there as
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
I don't mind the mayor at all myself. I don't know everybody else's. I try not to pay attention to all this stuff anyway. I don't mind them, but in general, when you drop bomb, it was like, yeah, come on.
We're huge Canadian baseball fans
Yes.
on this show here. We love it. They come down here. They support the show.
Yeah.
We love it.
You
Right.
can't play at BC Place. We tried.
Yeah.
We saw that in the '80s anyway when
Sure.
they converted it, and it was like the game was a rumor. You're so far
I
away.
saw some artist rendering of this imaginary stadium that was kind of looked like it was where Bridges is on Granville Island. The views would be spectacular, but realistically, there is not a chance.
Yeah,
and
no.
they're certainly not going to play in BC Place.
No, you have to build a stadium. You have to
Yeah.
find an owner. The Canadian dollar. Yada yada.
How about just be happy with our beautiful little ballpark?
Everything's, everything's fine. but-
100%.
I mean, it'd be cool if it happened, but it's not gonna. So
Yeah.
For those that haven't heard the name Brook Ward in a while, what are you doing these days?
next to nothing now, which is cool. I at least planned ahead through my life to do next to nothing by now.
Yeah.
So things are going to plan. I'm with the Vancouver Giants doing PA announcing for them.
Yeah.
And was hosting a Giants weekly show on 650, and that's history. So now I'm just doing PA as far as I know. Sometimes, they just don't phone you back. You just don't get the call that says you want to come.
So what happens to the play-by-play of the Giants, for example?
They're going to still do it. It's my understanding. Nathan Cantor's their play-by-play broadcaster. They'll either do it on Victory.ca is a network along the web that was showing all games on television, broadcast at least the visuals as well as the radio play-by-play to accompany it. They're going to do that for sure, home and away. And I've just been saying to them, they don't have a station, so put a link on your website so people can click on that. That's what the C's are doing, I guess, now. Otherwise, I think that's basically where it is for them now. And very unfortunate, but yeah, things are changing in podcasts.
What do you think of our little setup up here?
This is beautiful.
That's great.
I had no idea. There's I like the fan behind Joe.
Sure, yeah.
There's one fan behind Joe, which is about what I always anticipated, what I thought about Joe.
Joe always has one.
Stop it.
He's
No,
cool.
it's great to have you up here
And
entire.
it's beautiful. It's packed up here. Didn't know what to expect. It's packed up here. It's beautiful. You got Shane May behind the bar.
Joe always says it's the hardest ticket. What do you say,
It's the
Joe?
greatest party you're likely not going to get invited to.
There you go.
Jerry O'Day over there, the veteran Jerry O'Day hanging in there, waving to the crowd. It's pretty cool, and I really appreciate you having me on and to see the crowd. And Fast Eddie over there is a pal. Otherwise, I'm sure I wouldn't be on. But Fast Eddie's a good buddy. Known him forever.
That's our producer, Eddie Gregory. Rick Ward, thank you, sir. Cheers.
Cheers. Till next time. I like batting a lead off and trying to get aboard, and then someone's got to move you around.